You are now tuned into a special Father's Day edition of Slow It Down Sunday with yours truly, Mr. Always Making Plays. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Today has definitely been a roller coaster of a ride. And your boy, Mr. Always Making Plays, I've been up and I've been down. But y'all stay tuned. Your boy Amp gonna kick it to you shortly. Yeah, nah, we're not doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, again, you are now tuned into a special Father's Day edition to Slow It Down Sunday with yours truly, Mr. Always Making Plays. As I alluded to in the intro, today has definitely been a roller coaster of a ride, and your boy Amp. I've had my highs and I've definitely had my lows. Before I get started, I want to wish and extend a very happy Father's Day to all of Cowboys Nation. It is a title that I wear with pride, extreme pride, and you should too, as I know you do. Being a father is nothing that is easy. It does not come with a set of instructions. There is no manual for it. And for this job, all of your training is on the job. But I'm pretty sure you share my sentiments. I would not trade it for anything in the world. Now, there are a couple of different aspects I am going to share on today as far as it relates to fatherhood and really means. Now, just a few short years ago, and you saw the thumbnail, on the thumbnail to the left, as a matter of fact, I know it's a little janky, but I'm going to go back to my starting screen. So on the left, you have me, and to the right of me is my father. In the middle is myself. It's me holding my son. My father is to the right of me, and my grandfather is to the right of my father. And to the right of my grandfather is a picture of me with both of my children. Now, that within itself ladies and gentlemen, is nothing but a blessing at its finest. Because, transparency moment, as I stated in the description, just a few short years ago, Amp did not know he would be a father. And you can call it testimony, whatever. But my wife and I at the time had tried and tried and tried and tried and tried to become parents, and were unsuccessful. And after several attempts, several failed attempts, did not believe it was a possibility. But I am here to tell you that God saw fit to make it happen. I asked God for a child, right? The beautiful part about all of this is God said, I see your child and I raise you one. He gave me 2 children. Some people will tell me he gave me double for my trouble. And for that, y'all, I am grateful. Just this past week, I was not able to kick out content in the way that I wanted to, but I was being daddy, I was being busy, and so we're doing a whole switcheroo around in my house. And so my son has come to the age and the stage in his life where, quite frankly, he's outgrown the crib. And so on this week, guess what your boy did? I had to take down the crib because we were moving him across the house into the room adjacent to his sister. Now, I had a moment in the process of taking that crib apart because I remembered the moment, the day and the hour when I first put that crib together. And I was so excited, y'all. I was so excited and so grateful that I had the opportunity to put a crib together because at the time my wife was expecting. God had fulfilled a promise that he gave to me. Because even as a child, y'all, I always wanted the opportunity to love on a child the same way that my father loved on me. Loved on me and is loving on me. I'm a little late with the content because just to the right of me, there's an empty seat. But earlier this evening, my father was present in there and we had a very intimate father and son moment, celebrating and relishing in fatherhood. I enjoyed it. He enjoyed it. And this is the perfect segue. Ladies and gentlemen, you always hear the famous quote that a mother is a child's first teacher, right? But I'm here today to tell you that a father is a child's first coach. Because as my daughter was growing, who was standing there coaching her on as she began to take her first steps? Who was there coaching my son on as he began to take his first steps? And I said that to say that my father was my very first coach. And that's twofold. I pay homage to him on today because of what he has been in my life as a father. He showed me all the most important, valuable life lessons, right? At every stage, every step of the way. But my father, y'all, also introduced to me the game of football. An educator by day, a coach by afternoon. In the very early stages, I remember my dad showing me on TV the game of football, the game of basketball, showing me baseball, tennis, shoot, even NASCAR. Every possible sporting genre you can think of, he showed it to me, right? But the genre he had the heaviest background and the most knowledge about was football. And not only did he show me the game of football and introduced it to me, he shared his knowledge about the game to me at a very early age. And if you go back and look at probably my very first, it's janky, the internet was shaky, it's super grainy, I had a horrible camera. Matter of fact, I think I used a webcam at the time to record the video. But if you go back and look at Amp's very first video, I mentioned my early beginnings with football. And so I told y'all my dad was an educator, but he was also a coach. He coached the school. He coached the football team at the school that he taught at. And so he would pick me up from school, which was around the corner from his school, and I would be present at those practices. And at those practices, I learned. I learned plays. I learned positions and schemes. And when we were home on the weekends, I will never forget the moment that my dad took me out into the street and we were playing catch back and forth, and he got me comfortable in catching the ball. And not just catching the ball, ladies and gentlemen, but catching the ball with my hands. He said, use your hands. Use your hands to stop the ball and squeeze, right? And I promise y'all, I cannot wait to have that moment with my own son. But then we didn't stop there. He was QB. He had the ball. And he directed me to line up. And he taught me various routes of the route tree. And I would run those routes. And I turn and I see the football and I catch it. And he would be proud. Yes, you did it. You did it. Between that and watching the football on TV at a very early age, that's when Amp became a Cowboys fan, y'all. And then I took what he showed me as a toddler, y'all. And I had a set of wooden alphabet blocks. And in my room, because there are 26 letters in the alphabet. So I put 4 to the side. I knew that there were 11 on one side and 11 on the other. And I would line those alphabet blocks up on either side. 4-3 on one side for the defense, I formation on the other. And I remember the plays he told me. I knew the gaps, right? I knew what play action was, which was a fake handoff, and then you end up throwing it. And every route my receivers ran was always a 9, y'all. It was always a 9. I want them going down. I don't want them cutting and turning nowhere infield. I want them down the field for a touchdown. Now, out of those 4 blocks I had, I reserved 1 for the ball. And I would move those alphabet blocks. And I would have that offense matriculate down the field. And I would make them crash and collide with one another. And that was me diagramming a play at the age of a toddler, y'all. I fell in love with football. Amp fell in love with football, y'all, a long time ago. And it was because of, and it is because of my father. Now, I'm telling y'all about football in general. But does anybody want to take a wild guess who my father's favorite football team is? It was the Cowboys. It is the Cowboys. And so Cowboys were always nationally televised, at that time during the 90s. It seems like we always had the 4:00 game. So we go to church that morning, come home, and I would sit in front of the TV with my father and we would watch them. And I was like, man, those guys are good. I was old enough. So my favorite color was blue. I'm like, man, they got white and blue uniforms. They're crispy. They got the helmet on the side. Man, they got a quick guy as a running back. They got a guy at receiver who could catch everything. They had a tight end who could catch everything. And they had a quarterback who could deliver that ball. And it was at that moment, your boy, Mr. Always Making Plays, fell in love with the Dallas Cowboys. And then guess what happened, y'all? We won a championship. And then we won another championship. And some funny stuff happened. And guess what? We won another championship. So within the first 10 years of my life, I saw the Dallas Cowboys win 3 championships. Salute to Rich Lloyd in the building. Happy Father's Day. Thank you. And my sentiments exactly. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers here, past, present, and future. Now, I gave y'all my background, right? And I talked about my father. I talked about my parenthood and how it has been a blessing. But I also shared with y'all what fatherhood looked like from a child's perspective. But Amp cannot go by today without the acknowledgement of the individual whose name I carry. So we dubbing back to the opening screen. But as I stated y'all in the intro, yes, that's me on the left. That's my father on the right of me. On the couch, that's me. That is my son. That's my father to the right of me. And the individual to the right of him is my grandfather. My father carries my grandfather's name. I carry my father's name. And my son carries my name. All of us have the same name. Little tidbit of information. All of us are named Renell. Now, for those who do not know, on December 19th of 2023, unfortunately, my family lost the patriarch of our family, my grandfather. December 19th, a couple of days before Christmas. I'm going to be honest, y'all, it was a tough time. It was a very tough time because you were talking about an individual who started from very humble beginnings. And as I was sitting here earlier this evening with my father to the right of me, we reminisced on those instances, those very important life lessons that have been passed down through the generations. My grandfather was a very, very, very hard worker. And he can count the times that he is called out from work, probably on about one hand. Extremely hard worker. Loved very hard and very tough. Look, I'm glad I got the father I got and not my grandfather as a father. That joker there was a stickler. You hear me? I've witnessed it even in my adult life, how tough he could be. But some of the things that he focused on was being a man of your word. If you say you're going to do something, you do it, right? Doing things that are right and just. He also said that if you have the right tools, you can do anything. There is a specific tool for every single job. He also was very strong about his faith. He loved his church. He loved God. He loved his family. And if you see over my shoulder here, it says what? God first, family, and then Dallas Cowboys football, y'all. Now, my grandfather wasn't a huge football fan, but he knew how much me and my father were. And when we would go over to his house and it was Sunday and it was football season, he didn't mind watching. But when I think about the lessons that my grandfather gave, one of the most important lessons he gave was the fact that prayer changes things. And he took it a step further and he said that faith, ladies and gentlemen, faith is the key that unlocks the doors. It took prayer. It took prayer for me to have the possibility to become a father. But when things look gloomy and meek, Amp had to tap into another level. And it was the faith that unlocked the door into parenthood. So as I sit here on this evening with y'all tonight and I reflect, I challenge each and every one of you all to improve and build upon your faith, and your prayer life. Because with God, I'm here to tell y'all tonight, with God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible, and family is truly everything. He loved God, and he loved his family. And I loved him. We had an awesome relationship. I told y'all I had my daughter first, but once I found out that my wife was pregnant and expecting our son, I allowed her to name our daughter. That was her thing. I was hands off. Whatever she had decided to go with, as long as it wasn't one of them old lady names like a Beulah, Aretha, something crazy like that, I didn't care. But I'm here today to tell y'all, once Amp found out that he was possibly having a son, there was only one name I was willing to name him. Only one. So, cool, interesting fact is, when I would see my grandfather, we never referred to each other by name, right? Because we had the same name. So whenever I would see him, right, y'all, he would say, or I would say, "Hey, how you doing, number one?" And he would say, "Hey, how you doing, number three?" We referred to each other as numbers, y'all. And one of the most proud moments, y'all, in my life was when we had the family over to our house, early on last year. And he was able to hold my son for the first time. Like I showed y'all that photo in the beginning, it was powerful because it spanned across 4 generations, y'all. Even as an adolescent, that was a moment that I had always dreamed of. And God saw it fit for my son to be born before my grandfather passed. Rich Lloyd, that's the same thing they told me and my wife. They told us we wouldn't be able to have kids. I went to my church and I prayed. I went to the church that my church was affiliated, and they prayed for us. My pastor prayed for us. And even once we got pregnant, it was so many difficulties, y'all. At one point during the pregnancy, the first pregnancy, we thought we were going to lose the child. And I had a very real moment when it looked so grim and so bleak. My wife was hemorrhaging. It was blood everywhere, y'all. I'm being so transparent right now with y'all. And we thought that was it. It's done. And my wife looked at me, tears in her eyes, and she said, we're going to have to go in your faith because I don't have any left. And at that moment, instead of tucking my tail and shying away from it, I went to God and I prayed. And I asked him. I asked him to deliver us out of that situation. And I reminded him of the promise that he gave to me when he told me that I would be a parent. And then I had another conversation, y'all. Because if you know anything about AMP, you know AMP does not back down from any type of opposition or whatever. I don't back down from a fight. And at that moment, AMP told the devil, you are not welcome in my house. I will not allow you to take our child. I will not allow you to harm this child. There is no place for you here. And I literally looked the devil in the face, y'all, and I told him to get the hell out of my house. Because at that moment, the only thing that mattered was the individual that my wife was carrying. Now, fast forward, it gets better. At this point, my daughter has been born. And with God, miraculously, without trying this time, we are expecting a child. And guess what, y'all? The very same thing the devil attempted to do in the first pregnancy, he did it again. And I said, ha! Not this time. Nope. I done seen this before, bro. You can't scare me. And guess what AMP did, y'all? My wife was hemorrhaging yet again, and we thought it was over with. I went and got my daughter at the time. And I prayed over my daughter, and I anointed her. And I had my daughter come and take her hands at a year. She may have been 2 years old, almost 2 at the time. I had my daughter take her hands, this is no lie, y'all, and place them on my wife's belly. And I whispered the things in my daughter's ear that I wanted her to say and pray over my wife's womb. If you want to make the devil mad, y'all, I said, I'm going to piss the devil off. I'm not going to run. I took the blessing that God gave me to pray for the blessing that God was going to give me. And it worked. I took the very individual who Satan tried to say you will not have to use to pray for another individual that was to come. I'm telling y'all, God is real. This ain't nothing. Father's Day ain't nothing that Amp takes lightly. Again, because I remember there was a time when Amp used to be envious at all the other individuals opening gifts and presents and having times and enjoying times with their kids and going to get ice cream and things of that nature. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have my moment. I never hated. I was always happy for those individuals. But I said, God, I need some of that too. I need some of that too. And he saw fit for it to happen. Again, I know this ain't Cowboys. I know this ain't football. I gave you some football. I told you my humble beginnings of how Amp fell in love with football, courtesy of my father, the very first Cowboys fan I know, an individual who has been a Cowboys fan the same way a couple of years ago, how we had, what was it, our 60th year or whatever. My dad has been a Cowboys fan that long. He became a Cowboys fan in the expansion year in 60. Man, salute to my dog, landlord in the building. Happy Father's Day, my guy. One love, man. I salute you, bro. So again, I appreciate football for what it has done for me in my life, because it has taught me so many valuable lessons, y'all. It has taught me how to deal with adversity. You know, it's taught me how to deal with challenges. If y'all go back and look at Boss Cowboys live stream watch party with him, myself, and Coach Marv in the Green Bay game, even when we were down 21-0, when it seemed impossible, you go back and look at that video, Amp did not tuck his tail. I said, no, damn that. I got a hat right up there hanging on my hat hanger that says damn that, because even when it seems like it is impossible, Amp still has the faith. I keep the faith until the clock says 000. There is always an opportunity to win. I remember seeing Reggie Miller shoot 3 threes in a row against whoever they were playing that year, and they won the game. It looked like it was damn near impossible they were going to win that game, and he did the impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here today as a father because of the impossible. All off season, we've been listening to the mainstream media tell us about what is impossible, about what won't work, about what idea and scheme won't work, about what player will not work, about what coach will not work, about what the analytics say will not work, about what contract will not work. But again, I tell you, I am here today because of the impossible. We brought Zeke back. They say he too old. They say he got too much mileage on him. They say he won't work. They say Cooks might be a little too old. He won't work. Kendricks is a little too old. He will not work. They already talking about Guyton. He's with the 2s and the 3s. He might not work. It might be Chuma Adoga. All of the crazy foolishness we've been hearing about Micah Parsons. Yeah, I know it's a little goofy at times, but they're saying it will not work. Dak Prescott and his contract. It will not work. You got all these coaches on a 1-year deal. It will not work. But again, I told y'all, Amp is here today as a father because of the impossible. So even when things seems bleak, even when the clouds are gray, even when you can't see the sun, Even when every single odd is stacked against you, when life be lifing, until the clock hits 000, I'm telling y'all, it is not over. We ain't seen the first preseason game yet. We have yet to see training camp. We don't know what things will look like as far as our team, right? But I laid all of that out earlier. I gave y'all some real inside information as far as AMP in my life. And I told you things that look very impossible. Very impossible. That came to fruition. People will tell you the Dallas Cowboys are the most expensive piece of trash on the face of this earth. They already writing us out for the season. They don't think we're going to win the division. They saying we can't do it with Dak. They're giving you all of these impossible feats. But I'm here to tell y'all today, guess what? Until the clock hits 000 on the very last game of the season, ladies and gentlemen, your Dallas Cowboys have a chance and an opportunity to be world champs. That's not AMP gassing you up. That's not AMP giving you fake hope. I know there are things that we need to address. I know we need a defensive tackle. I know Mozzie might not be ready. I know Stephon Diggs might not be ready. I know John Stevens Jr. might not be ready. But ladies and gentlemen, that is what you call adversity. And if just a little bit of adversity scares you off, maybe you should have never got off the porch to begin with. But as the good book says, as for me and my house, we will rep the Dallas Cowboys. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been my time. It's DC4L. We say it, but do we really believe it? As I end every show, y'all, before I say that, if you have appreciated what AMP has poured out into you all on this evening, please do me a solid and hit the like button. Share it with your friend. Share it with your favorite Cowboys friend. And if you are not currently a subscriber of AMP Sports, please go ahead and hit that notification bell. Your boy will greatly, and I mean greatly, appreciate it. Now, as I always end every single show, good, better, best, never let it rest until your good becomes your better and your better becomes your best. Until next time, Cowboys Nation, this has been yours truly, Mr. Always Making Plays, and y'all be blessed.